Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Nerdy Rich here on the Nerdy Rich channel. So, I have to do this call to action. I know, it's annoying. Another YouTuber telling us that I know. Before you even start watching whatever video this is, whether the gameplay, reviews, what if, whatever the topic is, please go and subscribe. Subscribing is super important. It's free. You just hit the button, you hit all, and then whenever I drop a new video, you will see it, because it's a great way for you guys to see my content. Especially, I'm gonna be growing a lot throughout the new year, and I would love for you guys to be there for my journey at this YouTube channel. So I will definitely see you guys in the new year. So comment, rate, like the video, share the video with everybody, and I will catch you guys then. Enjoy. What is up, everybody? It's your boy Nerdy Rich here, back on the Nerdy Rich channel, and we are finally now on to 7, 8, and 9. So I just finished recording as I'm making this one. Just finished the original trilogy recording, so that's finally done. I'm happy it's finally finished. So I am going to have one of my favorite beer is Blue Moon. There's, of course, I don't know if you guys see that, but Blue Moon. This is a mango flavor. Obviously, drink responsibly, and obviously make sure you are 21 and over to drink, and make sure you do not drink and drive. Anyway, let's get to the review. So, of course, this movie takes place many years after the event of the original trilogy, and of course, we get introduced to a bunch of new characters. The first one is our new big bad in the movie, being Kylo Ren. He's in the middle of tracking down a rebel who is named Poe Dameron, and he ends up eventually capturing Poe Dameron, and he's trying to get information about where is Luke Skywalker, because Luke Skywalker has been missing for a bunch of years after something that happens in the past. And of course, now the New Order, being the new Empire, is trying to find him in order for them to take him out, so this way they can fully take over the galaxy and don't have any more big threats going on. Of course, we end up getting introduced to a stormtrooper who later gets the name Finn. And of course, Finn, after seeing an evil and atrocity that the New Order do to innocent people, he decides to betray the Empire, the New Order, and leave. And he's trying to save Poe. Him and Poe manage to escape, but something happens to Poe, and now he has to try to find a way off the planet they are currently on in order for him to find a way to get to the rebels. But of course, we do introduce to our main character for the rest of the new trilogy, and that is the character Rey, who is a scavenger on another desert planet. And of course, she's just doing her daily living and stuff like that. She's originally was just staying there just to wait for her parents to eventually return to pick her up, which she's been waiting there for years. But of course, after she meets Finn, and of course the droid BB-8, who has the map leading to Luke Skywalker, she ends up joining Finn and BB-8, and then they end up finding the Millennium Falcon, who is on that planet, and they end up leaving in order to try to get to the Rebel base. And of course, they end up eventually ended up meeting Han Solo and Chewbacca themselves, and of course, they take them to the Rebels, and we learn about what happened, everything that led up to this moment between Han, Leia, and of course their backstory that led into the whole New Order and everything else happening. So of course, now they're trying to destroy the new super weapon that they have, and of course they eventually do find where it is, and then of course the whole big final scenes happen. And of course, by that point, Rey is trying to become a Jedi. She's trying to learn the way of the Force and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the story. The story is very straightforward, and I know a lot of people are going to say it in the comment, and it is true. This movie does feel like A New Hope. It's literally, we get the hero character who starts up in this random backwater planet, and she ends up running into somebody who's important, and then she ends up just happen to help them out and end up joining the rebels and end up helping them to defeat the First Order. They end up defeating whatever big bad it is at the beginning. Now, the thing I do like about this movie, compared to the other movies we're going to talk about later on in this trilogy, is that it felt like a Star Wars movie. It felt like an adventure. Yeah, we had the Jedi stuff, which I always love, but I like that it felt like a simple adventure. It's us trying to get the map to go to Luke Skywalker. We're trying to help the rebels in order to push back the First Order for now until we're able to get Luke to eventually help us out. And that's what I really like. And I like that the characters are starting to get fleshed out. Like Finn, I really like in this movie. Rey, I don't mind in this movie. Han and Leia, they haven't skipped a beat. They still feel like the same characters from the original trilogy, just a lot older. And just a lot of great things are done. The biggest issue I do have with this film is that the director of this one should have stayed for the other two film. And if I remember, the director is J.J. Abrams. Definitely should have, Disney should have just kept J.J. Abrams the as the as the director for the rest of this trilogy, because then him and his team could easily put a cohesive story together, because it has a great skeleton of to start this franchise, but of course they end up messing it up, and you create one of the biggest mess in Star Wars, to the point where people even have gone back to the prequel trilogy and apologized for hating that trilogy. Even though I have my own issues with that trilogy, it's a far better trilogy than this one. But let's get so next we'll talk about is Rey. Rey from The Force Awakens. She is a very straightforward character. She's a scavenger. She just likes finding things in order to make money. She likes to pilot, and I like that she, just like Luke did back when he originally started, is looking for adventure. And then of course she eventually does find it when she runs into Finn, and of course they take the Millennium Falcon, and then of course they're trying to find their way back to the Rebel base. And I like that throughout the movie we get to see her become the person she will become later on in the franchise. I like that she is trying to learn about the history of the Jedi's and try to figure out that she wants to become one, because she knows she's very gifted in the Force. Throughout the movie she learns that. And I like the fact that I like that they do give her the fact that she's a pilot, just like Luke and Anakin before her. And that's some things I do like about her. There are things I'm not a fan of her. I don't like that she does pick up things way too fast. I do wish that she had to struggle a little bit more into learning certain things. And that's the one thing I don't really like. And I hate the fact that throughout the trilogy that doesn't get any better. But in this movie, this is her most interesting she's going to be, because in the later films she's not going to be as much interesting, especially in the final movie. But we'll get to that once we get into that. Next we have is Finn. Now Finn is the most interesting character in the movie, because I like the fact that he started off as a traditional stormtrooper for the New Order, and after he went on to one of his missions and he saw how brutal they are and how they're attacking innocent people, he decides to betray them and abandon. Of course he does meet Poe, and they started their whole friendship. And of course something happens to Poe, and then he's having to go and try to figure out how to get back to the Rebel base to let them know what's going on. Of course he meets the Rey, and then they continue as a partnership, going to go find them. Of course they do eventually meet Han Solo and learn about the history of what happened beforehand. And I like that he has so many cool moments, and I like that they do give hints of potential stuff he could be later on down the franchise, which we know that never happens. But he's just so interesting, how we have a character who started off evil, who should have been evil, but turned to the good side because he realized that the evil side is not what he think it was. And I like that he does, try his best to stay there. And of course he has his little moments where he does, knows about how to do order works and stuff like that, to give the hero side a chance. The next character we're going to talk about is, of course, Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is the quote unquote new main villain of this movie. I'm putting air quotes because in this movie he feels like the main villain. He's the second most interesting character because I like that he's very mysterious because he is a dark side user. He is not a Sith, and I'm tired of people calling him a Sith. He never calls himself that. He never even uttered the phrase himself, "Oh, I'm a Sith Lord." Of course, he knows about Sith Lords because he did study it, but he's just a dark side user. And I like that he does have this great history of his family background, and I like his relationship with Rey and Finn, and of course his relationship with Han Solo. I really like, and I like that he's constantly conflicted between the dark side and the light because he originally did start on the light side, but then something happened to him, which forced him to go to the dark side. And then of course he has his master. Who is also helping him to grow more to the dark side, which we get to learn more about that in the next movie. And he's just such an interesting character, and I love a lot of his moments in the movie. And then of course he's just so interesting, and he's consistently say the best character in the franchise. I know a lot of people hate him, but he's literally one of the best characters in this trilogy. Of course, the next two character we're going to talk about is Han. Han, this time around, is the mentor character. He's basically the Obi-Wan that was for Luke. And I like that he is, of course, trying to teach Rey how to use the Falcon properly. Trying to, tell her about the rebels and stuff like that. He brings them to them, and even though he doesn't want to stay into the fight, we get to learn about the history between him and Leia. And then of course we do learn that they did have a child together, and of course if you could put the pieces together who that is. And I like that, throughout the movie he still act like himself. He's still such this cool smuggler badass like he always has been. But I love his emotional moment once him and Kylo actually get to face off with each other. And what they did to him in this movie makes sense, and I'm kind of glad they did do that with at least his character. But I do feel like they should have gave his character a moment with Leia and Luke, like just in like a flashback scene or something, just so we can see them all together older before everything with the shit. That would have been very nice to see. And of course the final character is Poe. Poe is the reason why this whole movie happened, because he has a BB-8 unit who has like the chip that they need in order to find Luke Skywalker. And of course the First Order is trying to track it down, and then of course it leads into him meeting Finn, and then of course him and Finn escape, but something happens to him. And then of course, it's not really a spoiler, he comes back later on, and then he helps with the final battle. And he's just such a funny character. I like that he is basically the Han Solo of the group. He's very funny. He's a very badass character. And I like that he also works well with Leia, who is, of course, still around, still doing her thing. And I like that they're back and forth. They do feel like a mother and son, how they're always bickering and arguing with each other. But he definitely deeply respects her as a leader. And the final character we're going to talk about is Princess Leia herself. Princess Leia in this movie, she doesn't get to do a lot, but she's of course still the commander. She's still helping out with the rebels against the First Order. She doesn't like the idea that the First Order is a thing, after they just defeated the Empire so long ago. They've been trying to keep everything together, but of course multiple things have happened, and now she's like, okay, look, I gotta figure out how to get this done once again. And of course my brother's missing, so now we gotta go find my brother. Han went off somewhere to go do whatever, and then you got this new evil force user running around. I'm trying to figure out who he is, and then I want to know how he even became that. There's just so many different things that they do with her, and I like that she does play a huge part for the rest of the trilogy. So yeah, they do a good job. Overall, I do like this first movie. This was a good start, even though it does feel like a New Hope. I just wish that J.J. Abrams, the director, did stay on to do all three films so we could get his full vision, because he did have a good start. And I feel like he would have did better if he would have just stayed on. But of course, we know Disney wanted to have 3 different writers to write out the trilogy. But of course, the one who does the second one, Rian Johnson, did not go with the notes that JJ left, so that if he decided to come back, he can finish up. Or even if the third director would have everything they need, because they would have two scripts and everything that lead together. But overall, I thought it was a decent film. I liked it for what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, rate, subscribe as always. Like the video, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.